I'm tucking wires away, and I think I'm getting my mic, so it's getting buried. Okay. I'm learning new things lately, and one is, playing with technology in this very technology-filled world that we live in. And what I want to start off by saying is, whatever you focus on, whatever your attention is on, is where your energy is going to go. So when we are spending time thinking about survival and fighting for our life, it really starts to create this dialogue within your mind. And when the mind is in a state of stress, and the mind is in a state of constant arousal with those thoughts, it starts to bring the heart space out of my microphone. It starts to bring the heart space out of balance, and then we start to create this disconnect between the brain and the heart. And ultimately, if we are dropping into the heart vortex, when we are in brain interference, and I listen to Joe Dispenza quite a bit. He's one of my favorite people to listen to. And he talks about this quite eloquently. So if you ever have a chance to jump on. So we've got this dialogue happening in the world right now, and I think it's pretty collective in a sense, because there's such this fear radiating. You see it through the news, you see it within our communities. We are talking about it in our workplace. We are talking about it within our families, and it's just gotten to a point where if we don't shift the energy in a new direction, we're going to be completely on this wave of this frequency of momentum that just brings us into what we are thinking about. The more we put out as far as thoughts, that is going to in turn circle back to us in different shapes and forms. So whatever it will be respectfully returned to you. It's just energy. So I'm standing right at the shore here. I'm in beautiful Leesylvania Park. I have spent a lot of time here with my kids growing up, and it's a beautiful, very scenic place to hang out in. I've done a lot of fishing here as well, so if you like to fish, this is the place to go. I'm here to teach a little bit of yoga with you, and I want to raise your vibration. I want to raise your thoughts, and bear with me with all this technology that I have attached to me. It's crazy. I've got a microphone. I've got a little, I don't know what it is, but it's a receiver, I guess. And you should see the way the phone is jacked up right now, and it's wedged in sand, and parks that have been closed, and this one was open, and some trails are open. I went over to the Ripon Landing park, where there's a beautiful trail through the reservoir, and it is packed literally with people today. There's people walking up and down the streets, just taking in nature, breathing in fresh air. But my intuition said, maybe not that trail, because it was just crowded with people. And I do want to respect this coronavirus that is here, because it is powerful. And I'm not saying if you think you're not going to get it, you're not going to get it. I'm just saying raise your vibration, elevate your thought process so you can strengthen your immune system. Get sick, and that's with anything that's coming into your your body, anything foreign coming into your body. So think of it as energy. Let's start off. So this is going to be a practice where we are not touching the ground at all. It's kind of wet and soggy. So it's going to be an all stand up, feet on the ground kind of practice. So we're going to start off with a warrior pose. What you're going to do is you're going to bring that right foot forward. And that back foot is at an angle. You're bending into the knee, and you're actually bringing that joint, that knee joint, right above the ankle or just behind. You're going to sweep up your arms, and you're going to elevate and reach. Yoga is always about expanding in all directions. So if my arms are reaching up, that is the idea. We're reaching and extending energy out that way. My feet are anchored into the earth, so my intention here is to extend the energy down into the earth. So let me give you a little side profile of this pose. So we're going to step it in this way. I want to be wearing hiking boots, and if you're in bare feet on your floor in your living room or wherever you're at, that's a great way to just stay connected, because your feet, it's easier to mold to the floor versus my boots, and then my boots connected to the ground. So I'm energy down, and you're going to feel what's happening through your muscles when you are extending. And what's happening here is I'm creating a lot of energy in that upper thigh to hold me here. That back leg is a support, and I feel that little hug in the lower back. Now to open up to warrior two, I'm going to turn my back foot toes, just turn away so my hips open up. Nice and free in the hip area. I'm extending through this leg. You've got inner adductor, inner thigh muscles that are now on fire. The muscle spindles are just contracting and firing and working, because in order for me to open up the body asymmetrically like this, it's going to require other muscles that I'm using. So I don't want to look at the camera, and I want you to look over your right wrist. That arm extended out, and just feel what's happening in your body, and see if you can stay here for 1 to maybe 3 cycles of the breath. Now if you want to ease out of this pose, all you need to do is you need to into 5-point star. This is another way where we can kind of bring the body into a restful position. Allow your arms to down by your side. I love hearing the kids running around and people are walking their dogs. So now we're going to take it to the other side. And again, it's warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2 on the other side. We're going to open up that leg. We're getting into those inner adductor muscles, so you're going to feel that fire spin, the fire burning. The muscle spindles are firing up in the inner thighs. Back leg as a support. We're going to come out, arms parallel to the floor. We're going to look over that wrist. Zip up the belly here. We're drawing energy axis all the way up, all the way down. I don't know if you can hear the boat in the background. Feels like it's coming into shore. And again, just maybe 1 to 3 cycles of the breath. See if you can hang out here for a while. And when you're doing that, you're actually building lower body strength, building balance. You can ease right out of that by just coming into a nice straight leg and 5-point star, and just let your arms float down. And just imagine that you are floating in water for a moment. So when you're in your yoga practice, you want it to feel light. You want to feel like it's fluid, like water. I'm going to come in a little bit. Just a heel toe in. and walk it out. Let's go ahead and take it into a tree pose and just anchor the energy. So if you feel like maybe the energy is scattered and you're not feeling as light as you would like to, some nice grounding poses that don't require a whole lot of muscle activity like your warrior twos. So balancing pose would be tree pose. So you want to come in, let's say we're balancing on your right. We're going to come in the opposite, and we're going to just maybe hang out at the ankle or draw. That sand is really wet. Now notice, like, as I'm bringing my foot to the inner part of my thigh, do you see my hip come out? I'm going to pull the hip in. And as I pull the hip in, grow stronger and engage to hold me in this pose. And then you can bring your arms out. You can bring them wherever to assist in your balancing. Now if you need a wall, go stand by a wall. Just bring your hand to the wall, or even bring the back of your body to the wall. And if you come out of the pose, just come right out and come back in. You can always bring your back body to a wall, but not like connected to the wall. And just having the wall there adds a bit of confidence. Just knowing it's there, you feel supported. And breathe, full extension of the breath. You know, just reach down and stretch that breath. I just felt a raindrop. It is a little cloudy out. Now, if I was looking in the other direction at the water, that would definitely challenge my balance, because the water moving. And that's the thing, when you're in tree pose, oh, let me fix that. Okay, so when you are in tree pose, your balance will be challenged if you start to look around the room or look into your peripheral vision versus your direct vision. So I just switched to the other side, and see, if I'm looking around, it's going to challenge you. And if you have a lot going on in the headspace, a lot of thoughts dancing around, it's definitely going to challenge you. I know when I step into tree pose, if I have a laundry list of things that I have to get done in a day, and I am not directing my focus immediately into the intention of standing still in that pose or firm in that pose, I'm going to start, going over the list of things that have to get done in my day. And that's a natural process. We all have things that we're thinking about, or we're constantly thinking. But again, when we start to breathe and focus, and wherever you direct your energy, whatever you're focused on, that's where it's going to go. So if you're focused on all the things you have to do, that's where you're going to go, and you're going to lose your balance. If you're focused about everything going on in the world and how, the outcome could be, and you're trying to make predictions, your future life, that's where your energy is going to go. So it would get rooted in your present moment. Ooh, lots of dirt there. Okay, so shake it out. let's go ahead and go into triangle, Trikonasana. Triangle is a great pose because it really, it just, again, it offers that strength and stability, and it's a pose that really utilizes every muscle in the body. So I'm here, but if I go right into the pose without a little bit more intention, I'm not going to position my body anatomically to use parts of my muscle groups to strengthen and stretch. So I want to engage in my muscles throughout the body, but going into triangle, when you do a little reach, so I'm here, and if I do a little reach, you're gonna feel that stretch start to begin, and you can actually plug through it a little bit further by reaching. Now, anatomically, your hips, your pelvis is in position to bring you down without much effort, and equally reaching to the sky, equally reaching down towards the earth. Heart is nice and open. I like to play with this pose and, maybe bring my arms behind and hold on to my arms. Feel my shoulder open. I don't necessarily have to bring that lower arm down or up. I can keep it here on my leg and supporting me. I can feel my abdominals at work. And again, it's just allowing the muscles to do their part, and you are becoming lighter. You're coming out of that process. Just let your body process, use that natural intelligence to strengthen and stretch where it needs to hold you in this pose. Coming out of the pose, and respecting both sides of your body. You don't want to do yoga on just one side of the body. You definitely want to share the energy. You can also reach down a little further and maybe hold the ankle. Now, if that top arm is feeling like, you know what, I don't feel like hanging out in outer space, what you can do is take that arm, and it might be a shoulder that's communicating to you. It might be your back muscles. Then you can bring that arm and you can bring it overhead, or really over your ear, because you'd be looking to the side. And again, full expression of the pose and spending time in your poses at your own pace, using your own intuition, whether you are ready to come in or out at any time. You can bring your hand on the hip. Straight. You can slightly bend out of that knee if that feels more supportive. So going into those triangle poses, it requires holding the neck in a position where you're not dropping the head. Let me show you what it looks like to drop the head. And let me first get into it here. And my head is dropping down, like becoming heavy like a bowling ball. Then I'm going to definitely be affecting the neck muscles. And in yoga class, I see that happen. It happens often. And of course, we will direct our students to, create that alignment, and we give little tweaks, and sometimes we do hands-on adjustments. But a great way to get into those tight muscles where you feel lighter in the neck space versus more constricted or contracted is doing some neck stretches. Now, typically, a little rotation Side bend, left to left ear, right to right ear. That's wonderful. However, there's a muscle in there that gets super, the most the for short. And this muscle with that very long name a lot of tension, and it could just contribute to so much going on in the upper part of the body. So I'm going to show you how to stretch it. So what you can do is you want the shoulder. So you want to bring your stay down, or just bring the ear towards the ear. Once you turn your head, you're going to feel like, wow, it feels like an elastic band here. And there's a bony landmark behind the ear called the mastoid process. I want you to go to that landmark with your finger. And then slip your finger down just below. You're going to feel like a thick bandy, like a rubber band. And just bring your fingers across. So that is the origin of where the muscle attaches, and it comes all the way down to, and if you just kind of follow that pathway all the way down, you're going to feel another tight band of tissue right at your clavicle, your collarbone, and it's right over in here. So now, just to really get it to stretch, you're going to tuck your chin in. So once you tuck your chin in, then you're really allowing that muscle to stretch. So, and you don't want to come out of it as quickly as I just did. So it's a side, turn, and then tuck with your chin. Left ear to your left shoulder, towards your left shoulder. Turn the head, and if you'd like, with the opposite hand, come up, feel behind the bony landmark, just under, bring your fingers across and feel that tight bandy tissue. Follow that all the way down to your clavicle, to your breastbone, or not breastbone, to your clavicle. Feel that. I want to spend a little time breathing into it and allowing the muscles to soften, allowing those muscles to become lighter. And make sure you go to the other side. So going to the other side, let's see if we can just do this together. Ear towards the shoulder. Gently turn. Wow, I'm starting to really feel that stretch now. And then my chin tucks in and I complete the whole process. I spend time breathing into it, feeling. Do you hear the geese quacking? They're talking to each other. I'm sure they're feeling the energy of all the humans on the planet. I'm sure all the animals are feeling it. And the chaos. And not that there's just chaos going on, because there's a lot of, opposite of that going on. There's a lot of people coming together and, just with a positive attitude. high vibrational thoughts out there. So how did that feel? You did the SCM stretch. So a good way to kind of round that up would be a nice rotation through the neck. So take it nice and slow and feel the rotation through the neck. Okay. Another great standing balancing pose would be airplane. So airplane requires that you stand on your on both feet. I'm to the side so you can see me, and I'm on kind of like an incline here, but I'm going to do my very best. So you want to come no further than parallel to the floor with your torso. So you're going to start to and have a little bit of distance in between your feet. You want to be about hip width apart, or a little less. And you're going to start to come into an incline. Now, as you start to come down, you're going to notice that you're going to start moving back because your heels are going to try to hold on to all that weight that you're bringing forward. And what you need to do is actually shift the weight forward, so you're now stacking your hips over your ankles. And airplane, as soon as you are properly in alignment with this pose, you're going to feel the contraction in the lower back. As soon as I start to sway this way, I'm going to feel all of the muscles in the front of my legs working, the quadriceps, the shin muscles, the anterior tibialis, and we don't get a whole lot of blood flow to that muscle, by the way. So just to go to that muscle really quick, your shin muscle. You ever get shin splints? We don't get a whole lot of blood flow in this part of the body, where we would get it more in the upper legs, quadriceps and hamstrings, calf muscles, because when we're walking, those are just bigger, broader muscles that allow for more blood flow to travel. The anterior tib muscle right in here, it's just like kind of like a thin layer of muscle, almost like a thin, I don't know, like when you go get like a fillet of fish. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm over by the water and people are fishing in boats, so that's what came to mind. All right, so practice that with me. I'm actually going to do it this way because I was on an incline. So let's do it together. Thumbs are in, arms by your side, and you want to keep your arms by your side, and you want to start to hinge forward. You're going to start moving down or anchoring your energy into your heels, and you got to shift your weight forward as though there's a string pulling right at the crown and pulling you in that direction. And then once you feel that, you're going to feel all of the muscles equally through the legs distributed to hold you here. It's really starting to drizzle. I don't mind at all. I hear a little doggy. Oh, okay. So how about if we do a lunge with warrior? So lunge with warrior would be bending into that knee. Let's bend into the right knee. Bring your arms by your side, and we're going to hinge down. So that back foot, the heel is up. If you feel like, you know what, I need a little more stability, you can drop that foot flat, just at a little small angle. Here. But you're supporting your upper body. You're holding your arms back and parallel to your torso, so you're engaging all the muscles there. Make sure you're breathing through all of this. And I'm going to go into a side view for you. I really hope that you can hear me with this new technology attached. I have a microphone. This is the first time I'm using it. And I'm here. And if you want to add a little extra added fun to this pose, you can bend the knee but I would just say stay extended here. And come out of that. Side angle. We'll just go from one side to the other. So let's go ahead and focus on your right side. Bring that right knee bending out, and you're looking over that shoulder or over that wrist. You're going to bring your forearm here and take the opposite arm and extend out. You can lower. Feel that strengthening in the lower body. Press in with your forearms so you can engage the shoulders here. And we'll take it right into reversed warrior while we're here. Also called peaceful. And it's so peaceful out here in nature, even with the rain. I wonder what the geese are talking about. They're probably talking about going south because it's a little chilly out. And we're here. Side angle. And your body are definitely going to challenge you in ways where you will start to notice differences. And a little side angle. So in this practice today, it's just a very simple standing practice, and it's a practice where I want you to just kind of spend a little bit more time in your poses. Maybe after you watch the video, you can practice these poses again and just spend time. Just see how long you can spend, and then do it again and spend a little bit more time in a pose. Get those muscles firing. And I would say this is a practice for sure that it's going to be very grounding, but also a big energy booster. Boost your energy. And another boat goes by, and the geese go by. Okay, so how are you feeling so far? I'm feeling great. I think if you can get out into nature, your backyard, or find a trail where maybe it's just you, or maybe another person, you can kind of like social distance easily, but make sure that you're not on a trail with tons of people because you want to stay safe. The coronavirus is a real thing. And I know I've talked about it a few times already, and we're all talking about it. But I also see the necessity in, being mindful and finding out ways to protect ourselves. So, what is next? Hands to the heart. Let's go ahead and do a little swan dive. How about that? But you're not going to touch the earth unless you want to, because this is an all feet, all standing practice. But swan dive is inhaling, and just a little pointer with tip with your yoga practice, and we say it pretty often in classes, is that when you open up the body, it's always an inhale. Whenever you're starting to close the body, fold into your body, it's always an exhale. So we're going to exhale coming down. I'm going to reach for my arms, and I'm just going to let go here. Oh my gosh, the water's so beautiful. And then come up. Reverse the swan dive. Yay! Swan dive. Did you appreciate that, geese? I'm sure they did. So let's round the shoulders back. Round them back. Let's do a little heart opener, chest expansion. So interlace your fingers behind and draw the shoulder blades in. And if you want, you can take it down into a fold this way. So maybe inch your feet in to come in closer if you'd like. Toes are facing directly forward rather than toes off to the corners. And we're going to take it down. And the arms can start to even come further, like towards your head. Nice breathing here. It's kind of cool this view looking at the water and the sand. And then we come up. Wow, it's starting to get quiet around here. Not even sure what time it is. I didn't know what day it was until I looked at my phone and I was like, wow, it's Friday. I thought it was Wednesday, to be honest. I didn't know I was like 2 days off. But when you get focused on time, then that can kind of rule your life too. So I try to let go of it as much as I can. But when it comes to just, making sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be, yeah, I try to do that as much as possible if there's a schedule. All right, I think we're going to end it here. And I just want to tell you that it's been great doing yoga with you. I know that we're doing this together because eventually if, you watch this video, then that means we are having that energetic exchange. It's just in your timing, and again, that's all an illusion too, right? Time, space, it's just, so if you watch it, great. If you don't, lots of love.